Hey guys, it's Spencer. I'm here with my grandpa. He has this Gila monster, or Gila monster, and he's just a little baby. His name's Herman. He's in a fair sized cage for what he's in, which is good, because they like that movement. And tell us a little bit about him, Grandpa.
Well, I got Herman in part because of your interest in reptiles and because I have always been fascinated with reptiles since I was a little kid, and in particular Gila monsters. And so I did some research and found out that you could purchase legally a Gila monster and own it here, at least where I'm at. It varies county by county, but I got all the necessary paperwork that shows that he is a captive born animal because they're protected federally. You're not allowed to have them or catch them or otherwise. And his name is Herman. He was born, I want to say, on November 14th. Could be the 4th. He's a hatchling still, so he's a little bit skittish right now and upset. He bit the gloves a couple times, and you could see if you focused in on where he envenomated the gloves. But just the movement from us around him is making him, I can feel he's tense right now. I was told that over time he will become more and more mellow, and at about 2 years they're very docile. In fact, so docile that's what causes them to be dangerous, because you get too used to them not biting, and then all of a sudden they might bite you. I don't think that there's been a fatality as a result of a bite from a Gila monster, but I'm sure that it would be a very unpleasant experience. And so I thought that I should get Herman because of your interest in reptiles, and because I figured that you could learn about him, and because they're indigenous to the United States. Herman himself is from Washington County, Utah, which is obviously a desert area, and I want to say that I'm trying to remember what he's a suspectum, but so there's a Herritum and a suspectum, and he's a suspectum. The Herritum, I think, are the Mexican beaded lizards. He's just a beautiful, fascinating creature. He's been getting bigger. Now he's eating fuzzies, and I'm hoping that you and your father are going to help me construct a cage that is set up for what he would expect if he were living in the wild.
These guys are definitely really cool the way they eat. It's almost like a little monitor, but something that's really cool, one of my favorite things about them, is their black inky mouths. And they are a venomous animal, which is kind of weird because there's only 2 venomous lizards in the entire world, which is the Gila monster and the Mexican beaded lizard. These guys, I'd say, maybe get about that big. Would you say about this big?
Yeah, probably, 12 inches to 14 inches.
That's what I would say.
You can see he's very vigilant. He's concerned about you off to my left. He's settling down a little bit now, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't take a bite right there. There he goes. Because he feels threatened. He feels like some animal is going to come down and going to nail him, and you can imagine that would be a pretty nerve-wracking experience for a little guy like him. So there he goes. Come on, Herman. It's not necessary, my friend. Yeah, and there he's biting once again. And when he gets hold of something, he gets hold of it. And so the last time I took him out, he was a lot more mellow. I didn't have this happen at all. I think it's because of the presence of other people here. I imagine if I put him down into his cage, which I probably should do now. Well, what we'll do is we'll put him down into that little staging area that we have, and I think he'll let loose there, and we can do some video of him there. And I was gonna have you hold him, but he's so agitated that I think it'd probably be better, until we work with him some more and make sure that we don't hurt him. I don't want to pull the glove out of his mouth, even though he's chomping. It's not anywhere close to my finger, but I really don't want to hurt his teeth. So I'm going to put him down into this area here right now. And
those gloves also, he's not being envenomated. The gloves are protecting him.
Yeah.
He has little recurved teeth, just like monitor lizards. They're I almost see them as little monitor lizards.
Now, see, this is the reaction that that I had the last time when I tried to extricate him from this area, and he obviously feels it's our presence that is agitating him. Once he climbs over into those rocks, you'll get some nice shots of him more in what's more of a natural habitat. I believe the inside of their mouth is black because, for purposes of threatening, you remember that look. That he looks kind of dangerous, and he has a lot of snake-like behaviors. Yeah, see, now Cassie's moving. He sees that. They have a phenomenal sense of smell. I really don't think that that they use their venom to. I don't think they use their venom to kill prey. They eat eggs and things like that. But he definitely is. Our presence is making him very nervous.
Definitely not a good first-time pet. This venom, it's nothing that can kill you, but it is a very, very, very painful bite, and it does give out a lot of venom. You can see from where his snout is to where those big bulges on the side of his mouth, those are his venom glands. So they have pretty large venom glands for a small animal just like this. And just from us moving, he's a little angry. Just remember, he's only 4 inches long and we're like 5 feet tall. So you got to give him some credit for being scared. And you can see those colors are just crazy too. And he's also in shed, which might make him a little bit more agitated. And they also strike sideways, so they don't bite head on. They'll jerk to the side and bite. I don't know why they do that, but that's a good, helpful thing probably for catching food maybe. And he might do some posturing. When he walks, he's going to lift his legs a little bit up and down more, and he's going to walk a little bit different than normal, just to show that he's big and strong and he's venomous. And
I've seen that. Yeah, you can see him puffing up, and I suppose that's what you're calling posturing.
Yeah.
He seems to be focused on me, so he's probably mad at me for having put him into this situation. But he'll settle down here in a minute. It's okay, Herman. Explore your environment.
His little tail, it's just like a leopard gecko's tail. They store fat in their tail, which is pretty dang cool as well. And something I love about these guys, I don't know why, but their feet, they look like they're made for digging, because their feet really are made for digging. And they're just perfect digging tools and natural ways to dig. It's just perfect for them. And they are they need a lot of heat, and they need a lot of care and a lot of attention too. If you're ever planning on holding it as an adult, you're going to need to give it like this. You're going to need to give it things to move around on and things like that.
So there he was posturing.
So he's basically just going to raise himself up off the ground and start jerking side to side and then puffing and hissing it up. He's just puffing up so he looks bigger than he is, but it does look like he gets a little bit bigger. You can see he's puffing up right now.
He's quite a bit bigger. It's hard for me to tell how fast he's growing because I see him every day. But now that I'm looking at him posturing like he is, he's grown quite a bit. I've seen that his head has got a tinge of orangish red to it that was not there when I first got him. And it's surprising how well he sees what's happening around him. So he sees you guys, obviously, and now he's looking back over here. Maybe he'll move into those rocks here in a second. It's cool the way they move. It's so ponderous and slow, but apparently they have an incredible aerobic ability and can go for days and days and days at a certain pace. I'm sure when they're looking for mates or when they're looking for fights with other males, and I didn't move at all there, so he's probably just mad at me.
He's just gonna he's probably gonna move into the center of those rocks over there when he feels secure and safe enough to go over there, because he's gonna be turning his back to us, and he obviously doesn't feel safe turning his back to us right now. But with time, he'll feel safer and more confident around us. but he is a very small little guy. And yeah, that red you can definitely see on top of his head, that reddish orange. And you can see a little bit of a tint to it on his tail. And that color is just going to come along with age. And that color really is crazy. It's really crazy. It's just their natural color is bright orange and black.
And I think these guys, because of their particular locale, are probably more apt to retain their coloration, this same coloration, into adulthood, where the typical adult Gila monster that I've seen anyway in photographs are a lot more red. But I think he's a beautiful color.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be that I've been feeding him more than I should, because his tail is really fat. I think. So it's okay, Herman. Why don't you go into the rocks now and quit being mad at me?
Something also cool about them, you can see just their entire feet are black. Like, I don't know if that's just him or that's how all of them are, but his feet and legs are black. Which is, I don't know why that is. Maybe to absorb heat, I don't know. But that's also a very cool thing. I just see him in them. It's pretty cool. But these guys, the way they eat it's pretty cool. They don't need their venom they don't use their venom to hunt, like what my grandpa said earlier. They don't use their venom to hunt because I don't even think it can kill anything. Like, even a rat, I don't even think that could kill it. It's just gonna influence a lot of pain.
I'm not positive about that last comment, because I think that
It could kill it.
I
don't
think
it
that
could kill it.
but I don't think that from an evolutionary perspective that was the purpose of the venom. But I don't know that they know. They're not studied nearly as much as they should be, considering that they're indigenous to the United States and that their venom has properties that the medical community is just starting to recognize are nowhere else to be found, and have potential for incredible benefits from diabetes to a number of other ailments. Large pharmaceutical companies, at least in the studies that I've done, have been looking at their venom and its unique properties. And one interesting thing that I read, and I don't know if it was anecdotal or true, but that there's even a memory enhancement component to the venom, which I suspect would be to make sure you never forget if you got tagged about it, so you don't do it again. But that could just be a tall tale. Anyway, he is still mad. So, but he's definitely testing the air with his tongue. The tongues are amazing.
Mm-hmm. Big.
And
black,
there's a lot of snake-like qualities.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the other thing that attracted me to Gila monsters, because I've always loved snakes. He's, like you said, I think, just waiting to make a break into the interior of his little fortress there.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I'm so attracted to this animal, but I just love everything. I just love just about everything about them. Like how they're not so skittish. When they get full grown, they're a little bit calmer, and just everything about them, their built faces. It's just super, super cool, and you don't see a lot of things like this all the time, you know? Like, you see some at expos, like the adults at expos. You can't really get too close to them all the time. You can't really like even get as close as me to one. I've never seen a Gila monster this small before. I've seen adults, but it's pretty cool to see like how the babies are, not just from like seeing an adult and a toad. It's pretty cool to see in person. And these guys are protected, which I think is great, because you can't take them out of their wild environment. And they live in Arizona, which is in places like that, deserts. And they live a lot underground, and you'll see them just right by their burrow. Like, this is their burrow, this is the Gila monster, absorbing sun, or out by shade. And they normally only come out to get that sun or hunt and find water, travel, and then they'll make their burrows. And I heard their burrows aren't as I forgot what website that was on, but some people said their burrows were super deep and they dig their own all the time. And then from another website I heard they go into already made burrows of like rats or some little smaller mammal, and they go into the burrow, eat the little babies, and then dig it out and make it a little bit bigger for the size of what the animal is. Those are the two things I've heard, and I don't know which one's true, and I'd like to find out. So if any of you guys know which one, leave that in the comments.
Well, I know that you and your father kind of helped me, you more than your father, I should say, helped me set up the cage that he's in now. And he digs like a maniac once he gets comfortable, and he actually will throw dirt behind him
across the cage.
And he rearranges the interior of his cage all the time, and then he goes and hangs out a lot of the time in his hide. Interestingly enough, because he comes from a desert area, you would think that they really want a lot of heat, but they spend, I believe, a lot of their time underground and in the shade. And so you and your dad are going to help me construct an environment, but I understand that really, in the 80s, 70s or 80s is the optimal temperature. And I read somewhere that if you put water for them to lie in their cage, they will sometimes lie in there to an excess when they shouldn't. So they probably in nature they have to find water sources, and they live in their dens or the underground areas that they occupy. I think they need humidity, which is odd. You would think that wouldn't be the case, but so we're going to have to figure out how to construct a perfect environment for him, and make sure that he's happy and that we can watch him and
make it almost just like a natural environment.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's the goal.
And now he's kind of doing what?
Backing up to try to find a spot.
He's watching me for sure. And what's funny is every time I come in here, I will just blow a little bit into his cage because their sense of smell is really good, and I want him to know me, and he does know me. At least there's a look of intelligence in his eyes when I come by, which might be why he's so mad at me right now. But he definitely seems to raise his head and look at me when I come in every morning.
It's good to know that. It's good for the animal to know who brings them food. It's not good to just throw your fingers in there like holding the rat, because then it doesn't know. Like my monitor is tongs trained, so it's that's what they call it. So whenever she sees those tongs, it means there's food coming. We're not gonna just throw food in there unless it's like a plate of salad or whatever. But if we're gonna feed her like rats or insects, we use the tongs and we clap them on we make little noises and things on the cage so she hears it and knows it's food time. And that's another good thing, so they know your fingers aren't food, so it's not a food response. And that also helps knowing the temperament of your animal, because it's not, you would know if it's angry or not.
Now it's probably right. It looks like it's shedding, like you said. I didn't realize that they shed, but it's been rubbing his nose. I just saw there against the ground. It looks like he's settling down a little bit and testing the air. And we'll film him eating a fuzzy once he...
Yeah, we'll get a few clips of that.
A little bit later. So that is Herman.
Yes, that is.
And I can tell you that it's a good thing that I wore these gloves, because he snagged the thumb of the glove there, and he can't bite through it, but you can definitely tell that his teeth hooked into it, and I'm sure that before we got him to release, you could see that he had deposited venom on the glove. And so
Those venom glands do work.
It would have been in the thumb if the glove hadn't been on. And I think there's a clip I saw of that crazy Coyote Peterson where he was getting a little too comfortable and got nailed, and you can see that on YouTube, and I think it was a really bad thing for him.
Yeah, that venom does work, and those venom glands are pretty dang big, and especially for the size of animal he is now, those venom glands are huge, and that's remarkable. I've never seen venom glands that big on an animal of this size. But yep, that's Herman. And
we should mention that, although I named him Herman because of Herman Munster, that he could be a she.
Yeah, she.
But I don't think that you can tell the difference without some genetic testing. There may be other ways, but I'm not experienced enough
Ultrasounding maybe.
to know.
Just like blue tongue skinks, I'm guessing it's pretty hard to find the sex. You can't really just on a snake you can just probe them or pop them.
And I guess the other thing I would say finally would be that the other thought that I had in getting him is that because he's an endangered American species, and a really cool American species, that propagating and sustaining that population should be something that we all want to do. And that was part of the reason that I took the time and trouble to get this little character. And there he is now. He's decided that his real cow apparently likes the filmographer more than he likes either of us.
Because we haven't done anything. She hasn't done anything. Yeah, we'll get some clips in at the end of the video of him eating a little mouse. And hopefully you guys like that. And this was the video of the Gila monster. There's going to be a lot of updates on him.
Is he coming to me?
You get back down in your environment, you little monster. Yeah, get down. See, getting him out of here is going to be no easy task because I did this before and he was mad. And just get down, you little monster. But you could tell he definitely, look at him puffing and he's puffing himself up, using a lot of energy, so he's going to be nice and hungry. But to get him out of there, I'm going to have to take all that stuff out of this little enclosure. Actually, I probably can just use these tongs and get him to move, because I've done this before. Okay, you little guy, come on.
So the feeding clips will be at the end of the video, so don't leave now.
Yeah.
Leave when the video is over. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna have a lot of updates on him. Like maybe building the cage, we'll have a time lapse of maybe building the cage, especially when he gets full grown and getting bigger. Whenever I have the chance to see him, I'll try and do an update on him.
Well, my hope is that you can get comfortable enough with him that you can take him with you now and again to show people and to spread the word, and so he can get used to you and you can get used to him.
Yeah, that's another good thing too. But if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, my Instagram will be in the link description below, and we'll have a lot of pictures of him. And if you guys ever want to see him, I might not make a video every time I come here, but I might take pictures of him, show that later.
And you will not get bit.
I will not get bit. I do not want to get bit.
Because
ever.
then I would be in big trouble. I would rather get bit myself than have you get bit and have to face your mom.
So we're feeding the Gila monster. It's just got his juices. We brained it. And this is just to hold him in place because these are really not too easy to clamp down.
And I just let him he'll flick his tongue out, get the taste.
Takes a little bit sometimes.
He's got the taste.
Yeah, he's been looking at it. Probably.
He usually starts licking it.
Yeah, he was licking it a lot.
Yeah, he'll grab it. usually put it off to the side of his head.
So Herman did eat, which is crazy, and he ate really, really cool. And you guys get to see that, which was really cool. And if you want to see other videos and well, not other videos, but other things of Herman, most likely it will be all on my Instagram pretty soon. And see you guys in the next video.
Bye.